Have you ever killed someone and spent the next 12 years being thanked for it? I have. Every Veterans Day, every 4th of July, every time someone sees the folded flag in my living room and says, "Thank you for your husband's service," I smile and nod and accept their gratitude for a sacrifice that never happened. Because my husband didn't die a hero in Afghanistan like everyone thinks. He died on our kitchen floor with my hands around a knife, and the only thing he sacrificed was my safety for the last time. My name is Sarah. I'm 41 years old, and 12 years ago, I killed my husband Marcus and made it look like he died in combat. My son was 6 years old when it happened. He's 18 now, about to graduate high school, and he worships the memory of a father who would have killed us both if I hadn't killed him first. I need to tell someone the truth. Not because I feel guilty. I don't. Not about killing Marcus anyway. But because carrying this lie is destroying me in ways I didn't anticipate. Every time my son, Jordan, talks about following in his dad's footsteps, joining the military to honor his sacrifice, I feel the weight of what I've done crushing my chest. He has his father's photo on his nightstand, wears his dog tags, tells people his dad was a hero, and I let him believe it because what else can I do? Tell my teenage son that his father was a violent drunk who beat me unconscious twice and was about to do it again the night I stabbed him? Let me take you back to the beginning, because you need to understand how I got here. How a high school teacher from suburban Ohio ended up with blood on her hands and a purple heart on a mantle that belongs to someone else entirely. I met Marcus when I was 23, fresh out of grad school, teaching English at a public high school. He was 25, recently returned from his first deployment in Iraq, working construction while he figured out civilian life. We met at a friend's barbecue. He was charming, funny, told stories about his time overseas that made everyone lean in. He had this way of making you feel like the most important person in the room when he focused on you. We dated for 8 months before he proposed. Looking back, that should have been a red flag, the speed of it, the intensity. But I was young and in love, and he made me feel safe in a dangerous world, which is ironic considering he became the most dangerous thing in my life. The first 2 years of marriage were good. Not perfect. He drank more than I liked, had nightmares he wouldn't talk about, would sometimes disappear for hours without explanation. But overall, he was attentive and loving. We bought a small house. I got pregnant. Marcus got a better job as a site supervisor. We looked like the American dream from the outside. Jordan was born 6 weeks early, colicky and difficult. Marcus didn't handle it well. The lack of sleep, the constant crying, the stress of new parenthood. It brought something in him I hadn't seen before. He'd yell at the baby, at me, then apologize and say he was just tired. He started drinking more, coming home late, missing dinners. The first time he hit me, Jordan was 8 months old. We'd had an argument about money. Marcus had spent $300 at a bar without telling me, and we were behind on the mortgage. The argument escalated. He was drunk. I said something about him being irresponsible, and he backhanded me so hard I fell into the coffee table. The silence after was worse than the hit. We both just stared at each other, shocked. Then he started crying, apologizing, saying he didn't know what came over him. It would never happen again. He loved me so much. Please forgive me. And I did, because I was 26 with an infant and a mortgage, and I'd been raised to believe marriage was work, that you didn't give up at the first sign of trouble. It happened again 3 months later, then a month after that. Then it became regular enough that I stopped being surprised. The pattern was always the same. He'd drink, we'd argue, he'd hit me, then he'd cry and apologize and swear it was the last time. I'd forgive him because I didn't know what else to do. I was ashamed, convinced myself it was my fault for provoking him, told myself he was damaged from the war, that he needed help, that I could fix him if I just tried hard enough. I wore long sleeves in summer to hide the bruises, learned to cover black eyes with makeup, taught myself to de-escalate arguments before they turned violent, though that didn't always work. I became an expert at reading his moods, knowing when to stay quiet, when to agree, when to disappear into Jordan's room until Marcus passed out. The worst part was that he was a good father when he was sober. He'd play with Jordan, read to him, take him to the park. Jordan adored him. My son had no idea that the man who pushed him on swings was the same man who'd given his mother a concussion the night before. I tried to leave once when Jordan was 4, packed bags while Marcus was at work, planned to drive to my sister's in Pennsylvania. But Marcus came home early, saw the suitcases, and lost it completely. He locked me in our bedroom, took my phone and car keys, and told me if I ever tried to leave again, he'd kill me and take Jordan somewhere I'd never find him. I believed him. So I stayed. For 2 more years, I stayed. Taught my classes during the day, smiled at parent-teacher conferences, graded papers while my husband drank himself into a rage in the next room. I became 2 people, Sarah, the cheerful teacher, and Sarah, the battered wife who flinched when doors slammed. Marcus's drinking got worse. He lost his job for showing up drunk, got another one, lost that too. We were drowning in debt. I was working extra tutoring gigs to keep us afloat, while he spent my money on whiskey. The violence escalated. He didn't just hit anymore. He'd throw things, break furniture, put holes in walls. Once he held me down on the bed with his hands around my throat until I almost passed out, then let go and acted like nothing happened. I called the police twice. Both times, Marcus talked his way out of it. Charming, apologetic, just a domestic dispute, officer. We're working through some things. Both times, after the police left, he beat me worse than before. Told me if I ever called them again, he'd make sure I regretted it. I stopped calling, started planning instead. The night it happened was a Friday in November 12 years ago. Marcus had been on a 3-day bender, lost another job, cashed his last paycheck, and drank most of it. Came home around 10 p.m., already belligerent. I'd put Jordan to bed early, some instinct telling me to get our son out of the way. Marcus started in on me immediately. I was useless, ugly, couldn't even keep a house clean, didn't appreciate what he did for this family. Standard drunk Marcus script. I tried to de-escalate, said I'd make him something to eat, suggested he sleep it off. That made him angrier. He grabbed me by the hair and slammed me into the refrigerator. I saw stars, tasted blood. He was yelling something, but my ears were ringing and I couldn't understand the words. He threw me on the floor, started kicking me, ribs, stomach, back. I curled into a ball, trying to protect my vital organs, wondering if this was finally it, if this was the night he'd actually kill me. Then he stopped, just stopped kicking and stood there, breathing hard. I looked up and he had this expression on his face I'd never seen before. Not rage, not even hatred, emptiness. Like he was looking at something already dead. "I'm done with you," he said quietly. "I'm fucking done." He went into the garage. I heard him rummaging around. I knew what he kept out there, his service weapon. He'd shown it to me once, said he kept it for protection. I'd never touched it, was afraid to even acknowledge it existed. I dragged myself up. Every movement hurt. I knew I had maybe 2 minutes before he came back with that gun. 2 minutes to decide if I was going to die on this kitchen floor or fight back. There was a knife block on the counter. Good German knives, a wedding gift from my mother. I grabbed the biggest one, a 10-inch chef's knife, and pressed myself against the wall next to the garage door. When Marcus came through that door, I didn't think. I just moved. 12 years of fear and pain and survival instinct concentrated into one motion. I stepped forward and drove that knife into his chest. His eyes went wide, shocked, like he couldn't believe I'd actually fought back. He tried to grab me, but his hands were weak, fumbling. He said my name, just Sarah, nothing else, and then he fell. I stood there with the bloody knife in my hand, watching my husband die on our kitchen floor, and I felt nothing. No horror, no regret, no grief. Just this profound, overwhelming relief that it was over, that he couldn't hurt me anymore. He died in maybe 3 minutes, bleeding out, making these horrible, wet sounds. I could have called 911, could have tried to save him, I watched him die, and I was glad. When he finally stopped moving, reality crashed in. I'd just killed my husband. Self-defense or not, I'd killed him. And I had a 6-year-old son sleeping upstairs who'd wake up tomorrow to a dead father and a mother covered in blood. I don't know where the idea came from. Maybe I'd been thinking about it subconsciously for months. Some exit strategy my brain had been working on. But I looked at Marcus's body and I thought, he's a veteran. He has deployment records. People know he served in Iraq. What if he'd gone back? I cleaned up, stripped off my bloody clothes, showered, put on fresh ones, dragged Marcus's body into the garage, wrapped it in a tarp. I was operating on pure adrenaline and survival instinct, not thinking about the details, just doing. I found his discharge papers in his desk, his military ID, his orders from his first deployment. I spent the next 3 hours researching online what happened to soldiers killed overseas, how bodies were returned, what documentation existed. The internet in 2012 wasn't what it is now, but there was enough information to work with. Marcus had a friend from his unit, Danny, who lived 2 states away. They'd served together in Iraq. I knew Danny had done another deployment to Afghanistan. I called him at 4 a.m., told him Marcus wanted to re-enlist, was talking about going back. Was I crazy to let him? Danny, half asleep, said he'd talk to Marcus, try to talk him out of it. That phone call would be my alibi later. I spent the next week meticulously planning, called Marcus's family and said he'd left for a contract job in Alaska. Spotty phone service, would be back in a few months. Told my sister the same thing. Told Jordan that Daddy had to go away for work but would be home soon. I drove Marcus's body 4 hours north to a remote area I'd researched, found an abandoned quarry, weighted the tarp with rocks, and sank it. I was terrified the entire time that someone would see me, that I'd get pulled over, that the tarp would leak, but I made it there and back without incident. Then I waited. 6 weeks later, I filed a missing person report. Said Marcus had gone to Alaska for work and I hadn't heard from him in a month. Was worried something had happened. The police investigated, found nothing. I played the worried wife perfectly. That's when I made the call to Danny again. Told him I was desperate, that Marcus had been talking about re-enlisting before he disappeared. Did he think Marcus might have gone overseas without telling me? Was that even possible? Danny said no, that didn't make sense. Marcus would have needed official orders. But he mentioned it to someone who mentioned it to someone else, and the rumors started spreading in their veteran community. Did you hear Marcus Chen might have gone back to Afghanistan? I waited another year, kept teaching, kept racing Jordan, kept up the facade of the worried wife whose husband had abandoned her. Jordan asked about his dad constantly. I told him Daddy was working far away, would be back soon. Then I created the final piece. I contacted a former student who'd gotten into trouble with the law, owed me favors for keeping him from getting expelled, paid him $5,000, most of my savings, to create a fake DOD notification. It came in the mail on a Tuesday. Official-looking letterhead, fake signatures, expressing regret to inform me that Marcus Chen, who had been serving in Afghanistan as a private contractor, had been killed in an IED attack. His remains would be returned within the month. Of course, no remains ever came. I played the devastated widow, claimed the DOD was being difficult, that there were complications with the contractor status, that they were stonewalling me. Nobody questioned it too hard. These things happen. Bureaucracy is a nightmare, especially with private contractors in war zones. I held a memorial service. Marcus's family came, his veteran friends came. They honored his service, talked about his sacrifice, thanked him for his dedication. I accepted a folded flag from Danny, who'd served and understood the ritual. Jordan, 7 years old, sobbed in my arms while everyone told him his daddy was a hero. And just like that, Marcus Chen became a fallen hero instead of a wife-beater who died in self-defense. The first few years after were the hardest. Not because I missed Marcus. I slept better than I had in years knowing he couldn't hurt me anymore. But because of the guilt of lying to Jordan. Watching my son grieve a father who'd never existed. At least, not the way Jordan remembered him. He only remembered good daddy, the one who played catch, read bedtime stories, taught him to ride a bike. He had no memory of the violence, the fear, the nights I'd hidden him in his room while his father raged. He was too young. And after Marcus died, those memories, whatever small ones existed, got rewritten into hero mythology. He started telling people his dad died fighting for our country. Teachers would give him sympathy, thank him for his sacrifice. Other kids looked up to him. Jordan wore his dad's dog tags, real ones from Marcus's actual service, and built his entire identity around being the son of a fallen soldier. I should have stopped it, should have gently corrected the narrative, found a way to complicate the hero worship without telling him the truth. But I didn't. Because how do you tell a grieving child that his father wasn't who he thought he was without destroying him? So I let the lie grow. Let Jordan believe his father was brave and selfless, let him sleep with Marcus's photo on his nightstand, let him join junior ROTC in high school, let him talk about West Point, about serving, about honoring his dad's legacy. Every Veterans Day, we'd visit the memorial stone I'd had placed in the cemetery. No body underneath, just a marker with Marcus's name and fake dates of service. Jordan would leave flowers, salute, cry, and I'd stand there knowing every word on that stone was a lie, feeling like the worst mother in the world. The guilt isn't about killing Marcus, it's about what I've done to my son. I took away his chance to know the truth about his father, good and bad. I robbed him of reality and gave him a myth instead. And now, at 18, his entire life is built on that myth. Last month, Jordan got his acceptance letter to West Point. He was ecstatic, told me he was finally going to make his dad proud, carry on the Chen family military tradition. I smiled and hugged him and felt like I was going to vomit. Because what if he dies over there? What if my son goes to war because of a lie I told, because of a hero I created out of a violent drunk, and he doesn't come home? How will I live with that? I've thought about telling him the truth. I've rehearsed it in my head 1,000 times. Jordan, I need to tell you something about your father. He didn't die in Afghanistan. He died here, in our kitchen, and I'm the one who killed him. But I can't. The words won't come. Because telling him means destroying everything he believes about his father, about his childhood, about the foundation of his identity. It means making him choose between the truth and the comfort of the lie. It means potentially losing my son's love and trust forever. Last week, Jordan asked if he thought his dad would be proud of him. We were at dinner, casual conversation, and he asked it like he asks about college or his girlfriend or what's for lunch. So normal, so innocent. I looked at my son, tall and strong and good, everything Marcus never was. And I said yes. Said his father would be incredibly proud. Said Marcus would love to see the man he's become. Jordan smiled. Said he thinks about his dad every day. Wonders what he was like at 18, if they're similar, if they would have been friends. He said sometimes he feels like he knows his father through the stories people have told him, through his service record, through the sacrifice he made. I excused myself to the bathroom and cried for 20 minutes. The thing nobody tells you about keeping a secret this big is that it becomes its own kind of prison. I'm serving a life sentence for a crime I don't regret in a jail made entirely of my own construction. Every lie I tell Jordan is another brick in the wall between us. Every time someone thanks me for Marcus's service, I add another lock. I've considered confessing. Not to Jordan, but to the authorities. Walking into a police station and telling them everything. Here's where I put the body, here's how I faked the death notification, here's the truth about what happened that night. But what would that accomplish? Marcus is dead either way. Jordan would still be destroyed. I'd go to prison for murder. Self-defense or not, I'd covered it up, disposed of a body, falsified documents. Jordan would lose both parents and gain nothing but trauma. So, I stay silent, keep teaching, keep parenting, keep accepting condolences and gratitude for a sacrifice that never happened. Keep watching my son prepare for a military career built on a foundation of lies. Sometimes I wonder if Marcus knew in those last seconds, as he bled out on our kitchen floor, what I was going to do. If he understood that I wasn't just killing him, I was erasing him, replacing him with a better version, a hero version, a man worthy of our son's love. I hope he did. I hope in those final moments he realized that even in death, I was still protecting Jordan from him. Jordan graduates in 2 weeks. There's going to be a ceremony honoring students who've lost parents in military service. They're going to call his name, mention his father's sacrifice, and Jordan is going to walk across that stage with his head held high, proud to be a Marcus Chen's son. I'll be in the audience, applauding, crying real tears because I am proud of my son. I'm proud of the man he's become despite his father, not because of him. I'm proud that he's kind and gentle and has never raised his hand to anyone. I'm proud that he's nothing like Marcus except in the ways that don't matter. Same eyes, same smile, same stubborn streak. But I'm also terrified because in a few months, he'll leave for West Point. He'll start his military career, this path he's chosen to honor a man who never deserved to be honored. And if something happens to him over there, if he doesn't come home, I'll know it was because of a lie I told to protect him from a truth I couldn't bear to speak. That's the confession that keeps me awake at night. Not that I killed Marcus, I'd do that again in a heartbeat, but that I've built my son's entire life on a foundation of lies, and now I don't know how to tell him the truth without destroying everything he believes in. So I won't. I will take this secret to my grave. I'll let Jordan believe his father was a hero. I'll let him honor a memory that never existed. I'll let him risk his life for a legacy built on deception and murder and survival. Because the alternative is telling him that his mother is a killer and a liar, and his father was a monster, and everything he believes about his family is a carefully constructed fiction. And I can't do that to him. I won't. Maybe that makes me a coward. Maybe it makes me a bad mother. Maybe 12 years from now, if Jordan survives his service and has kids of his own, he'll somehow find the truth and never forgive me. But for now, for today, for these last few weeks before he leaves, I'm going to let him have his hero father. I'm going to let him believe that Marcus Chen died serving his country instead of bleeding out on our kitchen floor because he finally pushed his wife too far. I killed my husband in self-defense. I made it look like he died a hero. My son worships a memory I created, and I'm going to live with that lie for the rest of my life because the truth would destroy him, and I've already destroyed enough. That's my confession. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect understanding. I just needed someone, somewhere, to know the truth. That the flag in my living room represents a lie. That every Veterans Day tribute is built on a murder. That my son's hero worship is aimed at a ghost I created from a monster I killed. And tomorrow, I'll wake up and do it all again. Accept the thanks, maintain the lie, protect my son from the truth he can never know. Because that's what mothers do. We carry the unbearable weight so our children don't have to. Even when that weight is a body at the bottom of a quarry and a lie that's become a legacy.